Welcome to Useless Agent. This program is not meant for children of any age. Enjoy my nightmares.
Stay chasing.
Okay, let's do this.
Joy, stop crying. I'm just a city guy, living fly, getting high, living till I die, getting by, whipping by, staying solidified, big time to different sides. Here's your ticket, ride, follow if you feel my vibe. I'm just a city guy, living fly, getting high, living till I die, getting by, whipping by, staying solidified, big time to different sides. Here's your ticket, ride, follow if you feel my vibe.
50. Smile on your face. Nobody give a fuck about 40. Nobody remember 40. And y'all niggas just giving me way too many 40-degree days.
Alrighty, how's it going, my beautiful starflies? Today is February 25th, and we are going to start another bullshit day. Now, just to preface today, I noticed that some of the comments complaining about me talking about myself. It's kind of my show, you know, kind of. I'm pretty sure I can talk about myself. Whatever. All right. So anyway, great piece of constructive criticism there. Don't explain who you are and why you feel certain ways about certain things on your own show. Okay. Whatever. Criticism is criticism. No such thing as bad publicity, I guess. But all right. So today we're going to be talking about something really fucking weird because this weirded me out. Sorry, that blue light is kind of distracting. All right. So, I wake up today and just start, checking your morning bullshit. And then, I came across this video on Willy Wonka. And I had already watched a video on Beetlejuice that kind of went into a deeper meaning of Beetlejuice. And I had never noticed the honest complexities of the script. And I didn't realize that Saturn, had so much of a influence on the film itself because when you think about, yes, Beetlejuice, remember, he hates those Saturn sandworms. Well, Saturn is also a Greek god of time, and then you have Kronos, who Kronos would basically eat his children out of the fear that they would grow and be more powerful than him. So out of fear of retaliation, kind of similar to The Godfather. So out of fear of retaliation, he killed all of his children. So if you check out a painting, I forgot who made it, but if you check out the painting of Kronos, it'll be a picture of him eating his child. Now, what's interesting about that concept is the idea of whether or not he was doing this out of fear, hate, or did he hate himself for it? Now, this brings in all types of personal duality and the struggle of personal, the struggle of just being a person and that internal human struggle that we go through. Now, by kind of passing this over into an allegory helps us understand a lot more when we look at it from a bigger picture. And if you know me, I'm obsessed with psychology. And so I don't know if I brought this up, but I actually came up with an idea the other day that I called the Spartacus effect. And basically what I wanted to see is if I could influence somebody without any direct contact. So on the bus, I had gotten on with this old guy that was sitting in the back, and the old guy was playing with his phone, and he had it really loud. And so people naturally were looking around for an authority figure to do something. The driver didn't care. So I'm looking around. I start noticing that everyone is kind of looking at me. Now, I'm the only dude in the back. There's mostly women, except for one guy. And, you know, he didn't look like, you know, the toughest guy, I guess. So even he was looking at me. And I'm the kind of person that will tell you shut the fuck up, or hey, do you ever heard of fucking headphones? So rather than getting into a conflict, I wanted to see if I can get a resolution, but without any sort of confrontation. So I wanted to, well, that's what I wanted to do, but the mechanics of this was this basically to indirectly interrupt this guy's entertainment, the phone itself. Maybe because he's on the older side. He was 61 years old. He actually said it later on. So what's it called? He is 60. He's an over 60-year-old male sitting in the back with a phone that's loud, and you know, I just had a feeling that he didn't recognize his own surroundings. So by doing this, I call it the Spartacus effect, because everybody was looking for Spartacus, you know, the savior. So rather than being the savior, I indirectly influenced the situation. And by what I did was pretend to be on the phone. And so I pretended to answer the phone in an obnoxious way to get louder than his cell phone. And naturally, he looked up, noticed I had to raise my voice, and then immediately turned it off, put it back in his pocket. My voice went down, and then, I made up a conversation saying, yeah, just call me back later. I don't like talking when I'm on the bus. Sure as shit, it worked like a fucking charm. So psychology is absolutely crucial when it comes to the influence of somebody else. If you want to manipulate the actions of somebody, you have to know your subject. You have to know who that person is, if they are a person, and what qualities do you need to change. So what does this have to do with Willy Wonka? I know, I'm getting there. So as I'm watching this, you know, Beetlejuice shit, I move on to this Willy Wonka one. And so this theory of the film, this little film theory, is not only interesting, but it actually reflects the same shit that we go through as a society. Now, it's really interesting, and let's just jump into it. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that Timothy Charlemagne guy. I always say Charlemagne. I don't know what his fucking name is. I don't care what his name is. He hasn't done anything for me, so I don't give a shit. All right, so everybody loves the Gene Wilder. Everyone loves Gene Wilder. Everyone loves the original Willy Wonka.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all.
What I want to bring up is the fact that there was always this question of, where did Willy Wonka gain that kind of insanity? You know, when we see Willy Wonka get on the boat and just start freaking out these kids, you start wondering where, you know, how did he go from this person to this person? And it is a really good concept, because the guy ended up finding a lot of interesting shit. So what he's trying to say is that all of the real villains in this movie is actually the head Oompa Loompa, Lofty.
Madness has to be Lofty, the Oompa Loompa played by Hugh Grant.
Now, I thought, okay, all right, whatever. I don't know the story. I can get into this, I guess. Now, basically, what we're going to learn is how this guy has managed to manipulate Willy Wonka into becoming a puppet and a figurehead, where the entire Wonka company ends up owning all the other companies, but all of this being behind the act of one guy, and it wasn't Willy Wonka.
Now, you're probably thinking, how? How could this silly gag character, played by the former lead actor from About a Boy, possibly be some sort of diabolical puppet master? Well, Hugh Grant has had a late career turn playing con men in movies. And having him be this sort of stealth villain would actually explain some of the film's odd loose ends. Like,
so let's go ahead and start. So he starts
traveling the
off
globe, studying chocolate.
as a kid. He starts studying the chocolate. He steals these cocoa beans as a teenager, stealing it from the head Oompa Loompa, whose name is Lofty. Now, Lofty basically gets pissed off, and because he was the one on guard duty that was supposed to be watching them. So, in essence, he's saying that Wonka himself was actually the first brat that the Oompa Loompas had actually come across. And if you remember the Gene Wilder film, when they are talking, when he starts talking about Oompa Loompa land, and one of the mothers says that she's a geography teacher and she'd never heard of it, and he right away says, well, then you should know what kind of, if you're a geographer or whatever, you should know what kind of terrible place it was. And then he starts talking about like it's this horrible, place of these, constant wars and vicious, evil, maniacal things. But this is exactly what we do all the time with our facts, our history, and our knowledge of it. We manipulate that so that way we can make you think that we are better. So for instance, he talks about Oompa Loompa land being filled with all these, horrible, dangerous things. How many times were we told the same shit about other countries? And then we found out that actually those countries weren't so bad, and us that created them. Now, this comes into play when you think of Afghanistan. Now, in Afghanistan in the 70s, they started heading towards a Women's Liberation Act. They were actually moving forward in progress. Now, if you go even before that and look at slavery. Now, I know, like I said, this is going to get dark. I'm going to fucking use Wonka as a allegory for what we go through. So, we noticed that in the original movie, Gene Wilder talks about Oompa Loompa land as if it was so horrible. But when we see it in this movie, and we hear it from Hugh Grant or Lofty, he even says that it was luscious and green, which directly contradicts what he said it was like. And when we see the Oompa Loompa Lofty get kicked out of his own, land for being the head watch guard of the tree that he stole from, that Wonka stole from, this got Lofty kicked out of his own fucking island or his own home. So interesting enough that there's this phrase that they keep using, that you screw over an Oompa Loompa, they screw you over 1,000-fold. So it kind of makes sense that Lofty would feel disillusioned by his own leadership and then go off meeting a fool like Wonka and then manipulating him into becoming a puppet-like leader. Sounds pretty goddamn familiar. So what he does is he lies about their past. And so look at the original lyrics from Tupac when he even says, "What the fuck has Uncle Sam done for me except for lie to me about my history?" Now, this happens all the time. It even happened in Egypt, because if you were to tell the slaves how powerful they really are, they will no longer be slaves. This is the same thing that what the Romans did when they wanted to give everybody their slaves a certain robe, but then they'd realize how many slaves actually outnumber the leaders, and this would cause a mutiny. Now, what this is discussing right here is that Gene Wilder, or Willy Wonka, had actually hired Mr. Wilkinson to pretend to be Mr. Slugsworth in order for him to run all of these businesses. But it might not actually be Wonka that's running these businesses. He might just be the fall guy, and it's really all behind Lofty. Now, this shit is very realistic. When we look at our own media and we look at how much we've been lied to, the disillusionment and the management of said disillusion is all through media and all through what we hear. And the constant media recipe is always going to be just fear. Because if you're afraid of something, you won't bother to go look at it. If you're told, hey, Japan is fucking horrible and everyone's going to kill you over there, you're probably not going to go over there because the media had established some sort of semblance of trust with the American people. Now we know we can't trust our media. Now we know we can't trust anybody to speak for us. We have to speak for ourselves. Now, again, misinformation is the secret to pretty much everything. Misinformation allows slaves to stay slaves. And so if slaves were to know that they ran Egypt, they were building everything, if they knew how much fucking power they really had, they knew that they would defeat the white man. And couldn't have that. And I really wish it was more important than that. I wish there was more to say. There was more of an ulterior motive. But unfortunately, a lot of it just goes right back into, I just don't like your color. And it's so fucking stupid. Knowing that there's so many weird things that our government does, not only our government, but other governments, the fact that these powerful people run full-on islands that we've never heard about. I mean, how many people have really ever even heard of any of those Epstein Islands that he had? How many have ever actually even heard of those? We haven't even been told what happened to those properties. We're never even told how we got those properties, which we're just assumed that that rich bastard gave him everything. But there had to be more to it. But with his death came disinterest. And in my opinion, death brings more interest. Because now that guy can't speak for himself. So he can't even lie to me. Now it's all up to what I can find. Now, again, I've talked about this before, about lying about shit to create a narrative. Now, when you look at people like Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King and how they were immediately looked at as enemies of the state, very similar to Osama bin Laden, who they had to change because it was, if you look at any of the original writings, his name was spelled with a U. So that means his first three letters are USA. Maybe that was too much. Maybe that was too... I honestly do think that was just too obvious. I mean, we know Bin Laden is the real name because that's the name of the bank. And you don't change the name of the money. So all of this is entirely possible. And I just really love the allegory of this. So the idea that Willy Wonka himself is not actually the leader. He's just a puppet that we'll soon find out, or not even find out, but he'll soon be being used even more as a puppet. This could have caused him to hate the Oompa Loompa, or maybe why he's so distrusting of everyone. And the reason why I bring it up into like politics is because there has to be some point where our government went mad on us, and we don't know what that point is. So the entire mission of the Wonka video, it's called Wonka, the Evil Origin. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the Evil Oompa Loompa Theory. So when you look at the Evil Oompa Loompa Theory, it starts making you question why your government is the way it is. Why are they so fucking bipolar, twisted, and fucking devious when there's really no need for it? And you know, the lies about your history are always going to, you know, if you lie about the past, you can dilute the future. And if you dilute its future tenacity and vitality, well, then you now control the narrative. And there's just so much of that shit going around that was funny, that was also prevalent in the Willy Wonka movie. So the guy that made that video, I mean, even he said maybe I'm connecting dots you think are not there. But no, it makes a damn good argument for it. And that would be pretty cool to find out that one Oompa Loompa was behind, you know, Willie's fucking entire life, and he's just been fucking manipulating him and sabotaging him the whole time so he can be his puppet. Now, this is going to go right back to my favorite subject of all time, 9/11, because there are a lot of theories out there that Bush had no fucking clue what was going on. Like, you know, he knew there was something coming. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know when it was. And when he was at that Florida school, there's a lot of footage of him kind of looking around. And, you know, I think Michael Moore did it in Fahrenheit 451 when he kind of said, is this what my friends are? Is this what they've done to me? But I think it's more of a question of like, oh shit, this is why they've been grooming me. This is what they've been fucking prepping me for. What the hell do I do now? And of course the answer is lie, like your fucking ass off. And then go on a podium 20 years later and even fucking admit you were full of shit. I mean, he talked about the, I want to say the war in Gaza and all the fighting in Gaza. And he ended up saying Iraq. And then, you know, pointless wars in Iraq. And then he goes, oh, I mean, well, Iraq too. And so it's like he fucking knew that he had no control. He had no fucking business where he was. And the reason why I bring this up is because of the voting topic that is going to be our next segue. That song is really loud in my headphones. I don't know if it's loud for you guys, but it's really loud over here. I know most of you guys can't even hear it, but so yeah, let's start. I want to start with Laura Ingraham talking to Trump, and again trying to lead him into the answers, which he won't do. He is one of those horses you lead to water, but it'll die of thirst right there, right in front of the fucking lake. He's that fucking stupid. And I can't believe we thought that Bush was as dumb as it got. Nope. So look at how she answers the shit for him, tells him what to say. He doesn't say it. And then she looks directly in the camera. Now, this would have been benign. This would have been, you know, pretty mundane had she not looked in the fucking camera.
Mail-in ballots and voter fraud, which we heard from a lot of people in line, was an issue front and center. They're very concerned about mail-in voting. So forget the past. What are you going to do to make sure we don't have problems going forward?
If you have mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have,
okay, well, there's mail-in voting in Florida, and you won huge.
That's right.
When Laura Ingraham is fact-checking you.
That fucking face. Oh, God, that face. I mean, how many times can you do this? You guys blatantly break the law for him all the time. And this was so obvious and I mean, this was damn near tangible for the viewer. When the E. Jean Carroll shit first broke out and we saw Trump literally pointing at the woman he raped and kept calling her his wife. Now, I've seen that picture multiple times, and I've seen it from, you know, every fucking blurry angle, every clear angle, different media sources had shown that picture. And no matter how blurry it was, I did not once miss where his wife was. The hell was her name? Who cares? Ivana, I think. And the point is that when she was there, she has this very big coif. It kind of looks like what Pink was doing for a while. She was like shaving her head and doing that weird shit. I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Unless your name is Tinkerbell, most of the time, I'm not a fan of the short hair. I mean, I want to feel hair, chicks do too. I mean, a lot of chicks like to grab on the hair. I mean, shit, it's very important, and this is why Donald Trump has never actually been laid, because when you get laid, they got to rip into your fucking hair. So I love how people will just jump on the fact that, well, the guy doesn't even drink. Just because you don't drink doesn't mean you don't do everything else. Whether he doesn't smoke, I mean, probably not. You can't tell by his vocals, but obviously he's probably a pill popper, because that seems like the easy way for him to either snort or fucking pill pop. And yeah, that's why most rich people do it, because it's just easier. I mean, look at fucking, it also damages your vocal cords. Cocaine, it's all the fucking, it's not necessarily the cocaine or the heroin, whatever you're snorting. It's not so much that, it's all the cut and the filler and shit. That stuff starts to fuck your nasal passage. And then you get what's called the deviated septum. And that's why you'll see so many of, former addicts will usually have some sort of deviated septum. I'm surprised I never got one, but maybe I was just doing better shit. I don't know. I highly doubt that. I mean, shit, I was in the same city as everybody else, but yeah, and that's why Rod Stewart used to, Rod Stewart was always so worried about his vocals because he had that weird ass voice that he would boof all of his drugs. He was so worried about, burning down the vocal cords. So, yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. Just because you don't drink, that don't mean shit to me. That don't mean you don't get high. Dopamine comes in many, 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 many forms.
You know it's bad.
I think, although they hate me so much, I think if I got out there still, let's pursue this guy. We can't stand this guy. Look, I won an election that wasn't supposed to be winnable. I then did much better the second time. I won't get into it, but I did because of Fox.
That we've noticed with Trump, whether he's with, let's see if they have the other interview, but whether he's talking to, Laura Ingraham or, this fucking guy, notice that all he wants to do is take you back. I mean, that's all he does. He's got nothing for the future.
And if you look at all of the tapes, if you look at everything that you want to look at, you take a look at Truth to Vote, where they have.
What does that even mean? If you look at all the things you want to look at, no, that's not how you do it. And that's called projection. What he just did is say you can look at all the things you want to look at. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. He's telling you that that's how he lives. He lives with disillusion, and as long as I win. Now, again, this is not a matter of surprise. This is no fucking surprise. When you listen to the advertisement for his board game that came out like fucking 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when he did that board game, the tagline was even, it doesn't matter how you win, all that matters is you win. But it's a multiplayer game, so how can all of us win? That doesn't fucking make a lick of sense. And again, this is just this is why what I call participation trophies. Like, you really want credibility to say that because you did the bare minimum Nobody gets fucking credibility for doing the bare minimum. All right, you don't get a street named after you, like Golda Meir, because you did the goddamn bare minimum. And choosing what you're watching is going to be choosing your information. Your information is only as good as your source. So if you are choosing those sources, then you're gonna have either incorrect or incomplete information. You have to go all around the fucking board, collect what you get, and then filter through the bullshit. Now, one channel actually kind of lost a little bit of respect, especially from my side, is Mind Shock, which I am a huge fan of. Mind Shock. I like what they dive into, from Columbine to the Delphi murders. There's so many different topics they get into. JonBenet Ramsey, shit, that conspiracies that you can really point your finger at and really see some obvious corruption, coercion, and disillusion. And they recently did an episode on, is flat Earth that unprovable or falsifiable? Yeah, it fucking is. It fucking is. And it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take anybody with a fucking college degree to answer that and answer correctly, because if the Earth was flat, everyone would have the same temperature. It would be the same temperature here as it is in California, because it's all on one flat plane. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So, with that always made me wonder, do they think that the sun is also flat then? Since, if you can't see the Earth's fucking curvature, how the fuck are you going to see the sun's curvature? So wouldn't that make the sun and the moon flat too? I mean, it's cherry picking, and it's horseshit. And the fact that Mind Shock has been around for so long, I expect way better out of them to not fall into certain traps. I mean, that's like going to Harvard, but you only listen to James Tour. You're not going to do very well there because James Tour doesn't believe in science. He's a fucking anti-scientist. I mean, the guy's got a PhD or whatever, but the guy still fucking lets his religion take complete control over his scientific beliefs. Religion is not science. It's the exact opposite of science. So Christian Science is bullshit. It's the same shit as like white nationalism. No, you're just fucking idiots. You're all just idiots. And it just continues. So no matter what, my point originally was that Trump is just constantly trying to bring you backward, because there's nothing ahead of the horizon. There's nothing on the horizon. Got no plans other than to hurt, dismantle, destroy. That's all he's going to do. He has no thought in his mind right now or in the next fucking 5 years. The only thing on his mind is going to be vengeance and retaliation. Vengeance, retaliation. That's it. Nothing will get done. We will get so fucking even less done in this country and go to really poor fucking drops, not only in our economy, but you're going to see it in employment. You're going to see a lot of unemployment. You're going to see massive layoffs because he wants not capitalism, not just complete corporatism. And he does only care about himself. So every corporation is going to be up his ass getting all this leniency to get some shit, and they're going to start massive layoffs because the CEOs will be making even more money, because it's not enough to fucking it's not enough to fire one guy to make extra money. Now it's, hey, fucking cancel a whole 10 stores so that way we can have more vacations. It's sick. And it's gone far beyond the point of fucking capitalism. This is pseudo capitalism when the market is no longer free. It's not a free market. The markets are all being cornered, so there's no chance for anyone to succeed. Now, this will also end all of the Biden college loans that he's forgiving, which is billions of dollars in fucking savings for a lot of people that can, mainly people that can't pay for the college shit, that they have the education now and they need to go forward, but putting them in debt does nothing. It doesn't help our economy, and it sure as hell doesn't help the American people. And this will help at least a little bit in gaining generational wealth, because the whole point of wealth comes from generations. If your families are rich, then you're rich. And they know that, and they want to keep it to their families. Because if everybody starts getting rich, then money is worthless. And the overall, the majority of people that get affected by this is, of course, the black community. The black, Hispanic, the fucking, because we are what they consider the low-brow, low-rent nobodies. And so when all that forgiveness gets taken away, how the fuck is anyone supposed to move forward when they're stuck in the shackles of debt? Well, he doesn't have an answer for you, and he's not going to find one. And even if he had one, he wouldn't fucking give it to you because he didn't give a fuck.
But they say Joe Biden, there's no evidence that Joe Biden received any financial benefit personally. And to that, you say?
Well, he's got a lot of houses.
Let me just go ahead and say that's where you got to draw the line. It's no longer about do you like Biden. It's just, hey man, at least we're getting shit done right now. Let's just keep getting shit done. Our economy is getting fucking I think it was just 2 days ago, is at another all-time high. So let's just continue this route. And overall, I want to say that, actions speak louder than words. And we've seen the constant change in voting trends, and every red wave that they've expected has not come, because I think people in the grand scheme of things are practical, and they are going to say, well, what's going to help my wallet? Well, definitely not this. That's not going to help your wallet. If you want to fucking help your wallet, you fucking keep it going. Right now, we're doing well. Keep it that way. He's not going to help you.
Houses all over the place, and he's never been paid more than about $179,000, I guess, is the top. Look.
Dale joins me now with a fact check of what Trump said and what's actually true in it. Let's start with the claim about Ukraine. Let's listen.
First thing I get on the phone is with the European nations, who are in for 25% of what we're in. We're in for over $200 billion. They're in for $35 billion.
Okay. Yeah, that is absolute bullshit. None of those numbers are even close, and hopefully CNN is going to say that, because
About 100 billion so far, but it will be 160.
It's a difference of $150 billion. They've got to start getting up.
So Daniel, what's going on there, really?
Abby, those numbers appear pulled out of thin air. They're not even close to true. According to one reputable tracker of aid to Ukraine, the Kiel Institute, which is based in Germany, it is actually EU countries and EU institutions that are far outpacing the U.S. when it comes to aid commitments to Ukraine. $156 billion for the EU, starting in 2022, around when the war began, to $73 billion to the U.S. Now, those are commitments, not allocations, not actual spending. If you look at actual spending, it's closer. But even then, Abby, the EU outpaces the United States.
We know this.
And the fact is, we need to do this all the time. And not just fucking CNN, fucking even Fox News is having to break down every once in a while and explain themselves, because they don't want to get sued again. And this is where it's hurting them, in the wallet. This is why I say we need to keep things going as is, because it's hitting them in the wallet. And that's where it fucking matters. And that's where we don't, and where we need to be. And as long as it's hurting them, then it's helping us. No, that's actually the exact opposite. That's exactly the way that they think is if it hurts them, then it's good for us. Well, is it? I think what's good for you is good for you. Fuck what hurts who. And like I said, he's going to be so entangled with fucking bitterness and revenge and anger that he's not going to have time to think about you. He's not going to think about your fucking water. He's not going to think about your plants. He's not going to think about anything. Right now, the fact is we have more than enough domestic drilling going on, and it's not the answer. Obviously, we've seen the problems of electric vehicles with Tesla, and that really shows that there's a lot of improvement that needs to be made. That doesn't mean, hey, stop what you're doing, you suck, go give up. That means, hey, this is not where it needs to be, let's fix it. And so I think Elon Musk is a fucking prick, and he needs to just get on board with fucking unionizing. You know, it's for your employees. Just fucking do it for them, all right? It's just the right thing to do. And, yeah, being able to share a parking lot is not fucking helping them. This is the fucking constant reality loop that we're in. And again, how are we supposed to get anything done if you have a president so hell-bent on revenge for the last 4 years? You really think he's going to think about anything else? That's all that's been on his mind for the last 4 years, has been the last 4 years. It's all he talks about. It's all he knows. Everything he says is always from some shit like 5 years ago, 8 years ago. And it's because it's just he wants that cake again. And, you know, this time he thinks he can do better for himself than last time. And that's why he won't talk about last time. You know, he doesn't bring up anything other than losing in 2020. It's fucking pathetic. And if you think it's going to stop when he's president, you're a fucking moron. You're an absolute fucking retard. But I don't think anyone does think it that way. I mean, there of course are the fringe types that will always exist, but I don't think the majority of Americans feel that way. So I do give people the benefit of the doubt, and they should definitely know when things are improving and when they need improving. And right now, it's both. They need improving, and they are improving. So we just need more improvements, not setbacks. And that is exactly what you're going to get from the right, is just more setbacks. And you should also kind of be able to tell by when he says, that's why the black people like me. That's usually a pretty good sign to fucking bail. Is, you know, like, whenever someone says the black people is kind of when I always start zoning out. That's when you lost me, and I'm either going to get up and change seats or just fucking hit you.
Donald Trump accused the sitting president of the United States of hating black people.
It's the only thing he's really been good at his entire career. You know what that is? Being a racist, because he's a racist. Biden spent years palling around with notorious segregationists.
Isn't that you?
Donald Trump made that remark in South Carolina while making a pitch to the core of the Biden coalition, black voters. Now, Donald Trump failed to mention a few important things there. He was the guy who played footsie with white nationalists after Charlottesville. Donald Trump was the guy who had to be asked over and over again to distance himself from David Duke, the literal grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. And the actual Trump sales pitch to black voters was even simpler than that. Biden bad, Trump good.
And I'm thrilled to be here tonight with crooked Joe Biden's absolutely worst nightmare. Hundreds of proud, black, conservative American patriots.
Wow.
You shouldn't be doing well because, honestly, they've done a lousy job for you. They've done a lousy job for you. They've been a lousy job for everybody, but for...
See how he keeps doing that? He doesn't know how to say everybody. He doesn't know how to say that they're doing horrible for everyone, especially black. No, that's not how he's going to talk. That's how a real person would talk. But that's not him. He's going to say exactly what he said. The black people. And he goes on saying, I can't see any white people. I can only see the blacks. And then the way he says it, it makes your fucking fist clench, and maybe that's just fucking me. I don't know, but no, it ain't. I know damn well. I watch TikTok enough to know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. But it's definitely going to have to prove itself, or we're definitely fucked. And then we'll have to be the ones lying about our past, not because we need to control anyone, but because we're simply embarrassed. And this guy is always going to be making up shit. And that, again, if you want to control the narrative, you make up the past. And so, is it really any fucking surprise that he is always going to say that everything was better under him and everything for the blacks was better for him? Because remember, he's getting indicted for the blacks that he cares so much about. The blacks. Pisses you off, doesn't it? Well, probably because when you add all that shit, that's a lot of fucking lying. And then when you have the nerve to not only go up in front of the demographic that is the most lied to in the fucking world and add this shit onto it, is it really any surprise that he would consider black conservatives to be a monolith and appeal to said monolith? Why do you think he's always shoving black people in the front of the fucking crowds? I've heard about these cases where these guys get pulled into the front, away from their families, just because, like, hey, you're a black guy, get over the front. Yeah. The orange dude really wants you in front. So that way he can say, look at the blacks that I have behind me and that I've had for so many years. Because when you need to make shit up, you start with the past. And a guy with 4,000 lawsuits, and especially most of them being fucking discrimination lawsuits, you're going to have to come up with a lot of bullshit. So, yeah, good luck with that shit. And, yeah, I have way too many black friends and way too much respect for that community to fucking think that gold sneakers from Temu are enough to fucking change their minds on who the fuck is actually doing anything for all of us. And when I say all of us, it's everyone that is not a rich fuck like him. So that's all I got for today. And hopefully you got something out of this. Check out that Willy Wonka video. And I try to make sure that all the names are up there. So check that shit out. It's pretty fucking dark. And stay safe, stay free, stay yourselves. Most of all, stay cheesy. Sorry I didn't have like a final thought or anything. It's just, he just pisses me the fuck off. Love you guys.
Welcome to Useless Agent. This program is not meant for children of any age. Enjoy my nightmares.
And stay chasing.
Okay, let's do this.
Joy, stop crying. I'm just a city guy, living high, getting high. Living till I die, getting by, whipping by. Staying solidified, big time to be precise. Get your ticket by, follow if you feel my vibe. I'm just a city guy, living fly, getting high. Living till I die, getting by, whipping by. Staying solidified, big time to be precise. Get your ticket by, follow if you feel my vibe.
50. Smile on your face. Nobody give a fuck about 40. Nobody remember 40, and y'all niggas just giving me way too many 40-degree days. What the fuck? What the